I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, patriots, and welcome to another Douglas Ducote show. You had many places to be tonight, but you chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Sad news tonight out of LA. Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of the late Elvis Presley, has died. Earlier, she had suffered a heart attack at her home in LA. Paramedics had went there. They had to resuscitate her at that moment. They also had to do the same, according to news reports, on an ambulance, taking her to the hospital. Once she got there, she was in critical care for quite some time. And now it has officially been announced, and it's going out on the wire with all the news agencies at the moment, that she has passed away. She was 54 years old. Lisa Marie Presley, the only daughter, or actually the only child of Elvis Presley. So our thoughts and prayers should be with the Presley family tonight as they mourn this tragic loss. Our lead story tonight, another batch of classified documents was found in the garage of one of President Biden's Delaware homes. White House lawyers announced today. The White House counsel's office searched Biden's two residences in Wilmington, Delaware this week after revelations of a collection of Obama-era classified documents at a think tank in Washington where Biden was using it as an office. Biden is facing growing scrutiny for his handling of classified documents, and the White House says it's fully cooperating with the Justice Department's investigation. White House lawyers said they immediately contacted the Department of Justice when they discovered the documents this week. There's been no indication of what the documents contain or whether Biden or anyone else, for that matter, has looked at them. Lawyers discovered among personal and political papers a small number of additional Obama-era administration top secret classified documents. All but one of these documents was found in a storage space in his garage. White House lawyers wrote in their statement today. One document consisted of one page, was discovered among stored materials in an adjacent room. The White House says no documents were found at Biden's residence, that it's out on the actual beach. Biden administration has also arranged to deliver the documents over to the Department of Justice custody. Department of Justice officials also interviewed multiple people who were aides to Biden at the end of the Obama administration regarding the documents, according to NBC News. The documents are the second stash of Obama-era classified documents to be uncovered, with Biden's name attached to them. The first collection was found at the Washington office of the Penn Biden Center, a Biden-alleged think tank and an office he was using. Attorney General Merrick Garland tapped John Losh, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, who also happened to be a Trump appointee, to investigate the matter. That was on Monday. The White House says Biden is fully cooperating with the investigation. Documents were not subject to any previous request or inquiry by the archives, which I find Very strange. According to Richard Sauber, special counsel for the White House, said on Monday's statement about the think tank documents. Since that discovery, the president's personal attorneys have cooperated with the archives and the Department of Justice, the process to ensure that any Obama-Biden administration records are properly and possessed and sent back to the archives. The discovery echoes revelations from last year that former President Donald Trump had housed classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida after leaving office. You all remember that the FBI ultimately raided his residence to recover some of those documents. Biden ignored multiple shouted questions from reporters about his handling of the classified documents on Tuesday, which I reported right here on this show. Members of the press shouted questions about the new Department of Justice investigation after Biden concluded his bilateral meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Biden and Trudeau remained silent and stared at the press corps impassively as staff escorted reporters out of the room. Where is the FBI? Why is Biden getting special treatment that President Trump didn't get? Why is the FBI not raided every single building and house that Biden owns? So now, this new round of documents found has forced Attorney General Garland's hand. Attorney General Merrick Garland today appointed a special counsel to investigate President Biden's handling of classified documents dating back to the Obama administration. Garland tapped Robert Hur, a former U.S. attorney, to handle the investigation. The Justice Department escalated it to a special counsel because of today's stash of classified documents that were found inside a garage of Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home. First documents were found inside the Washington office of the Penn State Think Center, where he was doing business prior to the election. Earlier today, I signed an order appointing Robert Burr as special counsel for the matter I have just described, Garland said after outlining location of the documents. This authority authorizes him to investigate whether any person or entity involved violated the law in connection with this matter. The special counsel will not be subject to the day-to-day supervision of any official of the department, but must comply with regulations, procedures, and policies of the department. Her work in the Department of Justice Criminal Division investigating counterterrorism, corporate fraud, and appellate matters, Garland said. He also served in the U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Maryland, until he left the DOJ in 2021. I am confident that Mr. Hur will carry out his responsibilities in an even-handed and urgent manner in accordance with the highest traditions of the department, Garland added. The White House counsel's office searched Biden's two residences in Wilmington, Delaware, this week after news of the first documents broke. Now, that's like having the fox guard the henhouse. Why did the FBI not go raid Biden's house like they did Trump's house? Same thing. I don't care if it's one classified document or it's 1,000 classified documents. They were not supposed to be where they're at, right? That's what they told us about Trump, even though Trump said he declassified what he took out of the White House. Biden, on the other hand, is saying he don't know anything about this. He's completely clueless, which he may be because he's got Alzheimer's or he's got dementia or something. He's just not there. But MSNBC, for instance, and the liberals are trying to spin this shit, saying, oh, it's not the same as what Trump did. No, bullshit. It is the same. If you want to say that Donald Trump broke federal law by taking documents that were classified to his home in Mar-a-Lago, then you have to do the exact same thing to President Joe Biden. Or you are a no-good, un-American, hypocrite son of a bitch. Period. Bottom line, end the discussion. One document or 1,000 documents doesn't fucking matter. White House lawyers said they immediately contacted the Department of Justice when they discovered these documents inside the garage. There had been no indication of what the documents contain, or whether Biden or anyone else read them after leaving office as vice president then when he took them. Lawyers discovered among personal and political papers a small number of additional Obama-Biden administration records with classified markings. All but one of these documents were found in a storage space in the president's residence garage next to, his car, his Corvette. He has a very nice, classic Corvette. White House lawyers wrote in a statement on Thursday, one document consisted of one page, was discovered among stored materials in an adjacent room, which we already talked about. Biden administration has also arranged to deliver those documents to the Department of Justice. Wilmington documents are the second stash of Obama-era classified documents to be uncovered. And of course, the first set, as we know, I won't continue to read into that, they're found at the think tank in his office. Biden sparred with Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy over the second group of documents today. And if you haven't seen that, you should look it up. It's right here on YouTube. Classified documents next to your Corvette? What were you thinking? Ducey directed at the president. I'm not going to get the chance to speak to all of this, but I'm going to. God willing, it'll be soon. But I said earlier this week, and by the way, my Corvette is in a locked garage. Like that fucking matters. I got a locked garage too. I got some really cool shit in my garage. My garage has been broken into before. It's freaking easy. It's a goddamn garage door. It's not like Fort Knox or a nuclear bunker door. They're flimsy ass garage doors. And I seen the garage door. You can go look at the video that's on right here on YouTube of him driving his car in and out of it and campaigns that they did a while back. It's just a freaking garage door. He went on to say, it's not like it's just sitting out in the street, Biden responded. So the documents were in a locked garage, Ducey prompt. Yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified materials serious, Biden said. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review. So did Donald Trump and his attorneys. The discovery echoes revelations of last year when former President Donald Trump had housed classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago home after leaving office. The FBI ultimately raided his residence to recover those classified documents. Look. To the Department of Justice and the FBI. If you want we, the people of this country that pay your salary, to be respected and treated as professional law enforcement officers, then you stop this two-tier justice bullshit. Stop going after just conservatives and Republicans and anyone that supported Trump and Trump himself. There are many, many Democrats that have committed treasonous acts against this country. You know it. I reported them right here on this show. So has Fox News and many other outlets across the country and many other people on YouTube that report the news. If you think for one fucking second that we the people are going to turn and look the other way and not hold you accountable if you drop this shit and yet take down Trump, you're fucking smoking crack. Because there's some pissed the fuck off Americans right now that are sick and tired of watching our Justice Department and our FBI act like a bunch of fucking Keystone cops. This is absolutely unacceptable. What you're doing to Republicans, conservatives, Donald Trump, and anybody that supported Donald Trump. And I'm not on a Donald Trump bandwagon by any means. Trust me. I've said all along, if they can prove that Donald Trump on purpose took classified information that wasn't declassified to his home, then he should be prosecuted because no one is above the law. No one is above the law. Unless, according to this Department of Justice and this FBI, their name happens to be, I don't know, let's see, Clinton, or, Hunter Biden, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page. I could go on and on and on of all the Democrats that have gotten away with federal crimes because they're a fucking Democrat and because they're linked in with the Clintons and the Bidens. But yet, they try and crucify Republicans, conservatives, Trump, and Trump supporters just like they did to Jesus Christ. And this is wrong. We, the people, are watching this unfold 24/7. So is the rest of the world. So do the right thing or drop this fucking investigation against Donald J. Trump. But if you think for 1 second that there's no consequences, if you let Biden get away with this, but yet you prosecute and take down Donald Trump, you're fucking smoking crack. Don't do it. Don't do it. Republicans and conservatives and Trump supporters, we don't want violence. We don't want to go to the street with our weapons and activate the Second Amendment the way it was written in the Constitution. We don't want to go to prison. We don't want to go to jail. We don't want to be shot at. But most of us are veterans that have already been shot at. We defended this country against our enemies. And now, sadly, the enemy is within our own government. Now, this isn't a call to arms. This is just Douglas Ducote, just like every other American out there that's pissed off and has had enough of this silly bullshit that is happening in our justice system. And it's not just the FBI and Department of Justice. My God, it's rampant all across law enforcement. And I'm sorry to have to say that. I'm watching some shit unfold right now in Louisiana that is just, it's going to make you sick when I report on it. And trust me, I will be reporting on it very soon. If the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office doesn't do their job by putting away a sex offender that molested one of my family members when she was 13 years old, who's not been charged, who's an adult, a meth head. And oh, by the way, also got her pregnant. In fact, I'd be doing the report and the video from outside the sheriff's office over there. God damn it, when the law's broken, take care of the shit the way it's supposed to be done. Lady Justice wears a blindfold for a reason. And this bullshit of turning the other way when you feel like it is not acceptable. That's not what we're paying you to do. Same kind of shit's happening in Baton Rouge, Louisiana with law enforcement, with the Louisiana State Police. Down in New Orleans with the New Orleans police. Every fucking day it's on the news where another officer was accused of something, raping some girl he had handcuffed in his car, dealing drugs out of his car. And it's not just here. There's reports in Arkansas, in Texas, in Florida, in New York, out in California, every state in America. And I'm ashamed to have to say this. I'm a veteran law enforcement officer besides my military career. I serve with honor and dignity in law enforcement and the military. And I'm watching my country turn to fucking shit based off of Democrats being infiltrated by the far left mental capacity idiots that are destroying it. All we ask is treat everyone equally. Moving on. Shocking news from Navy Secretary Carlos del Toro. Shocking that this has happened, and shocking that he just told the world to include our enemies. When he warned yesterday that continued support for Ukraine will be difficult if weapon makers don't ramp up production in the next 6 to 12 months right here in America. The comments came on the sidelines of the Surface Naval Association conference in Arlington, Virginia. Del Toro was asked to respond to remarks by Admiral Darrell Claude, commander of the U.S. Fleet Forces Command, that the U.S. Navy may ultimately have to decide between arming itself or the Ukrainians. That's right. They just admitted that we have sent so much military hardware to Ukraine that now it's affecting our ability to defend our country. Del Toro said the Navy wasn't quite there yet, but urged that the supply chain would be stressed if the conflict goes on for another 6 months. It's obvious that these companies have a substantial pipeline for the future, Del Toro said. They now need to invest in the workforce as well as the capital investment they had to make within their own companies to get their production ramped up. Then he goes on to say, during his talk, Claude chastised the Defense Department companies for blaming the COVID pandemic on missing weapon delivery deadlines. Defense One reported, I'm not as forgiving of the defense industry base. I'm just not, he said. I'm not forgiving of the fact that you're not delivering the ordnance we need. All this stuff about COVID, this supply chain, I just don't really care. We've all got tough jobs. Later clarifying on his remarks, Del Toro said the Department of Defense has been working very, very closely with the industry to motivate them to find out what their challenges or obstacles are to be able to increase the production rates of bullets, missiles, bombs, rocket launchers, tanks, artillery pieces. The list goes on and on and on. It's obvious that these companies have a substantial pipeline for the future. Now they need to invest, get things ramped up, he said. So when that occurs, we will be in a better place. Until then, we're not. How long that takes often varies from weapon system to weapon system. To date, Congress has authorized nearly $100 billion in military aid to Ukraine. The hefty sum has prompted some Republican lawmakers to demand more accountability about how the money is being spent. Now, their commander-in-chief, that'd be Joe Biden, has blamed COVID on everything that's gone wrong under his watch. And if he wasn't blaming COVID, he was blaming Donald Trump. So, while we can't get the proper food in our grocery stores, while the gas prices are rampant, of course they're coming down right now, thank God. Why we can't get the proper medications delivered, while there's this huge problem of distribution all across our country in shipping containers sitting off coast, of both coasts, even out in the Gulf of Mexico, not unloaded. Biden blamed all that, the entire disruption of our transportation system of goods and our economy, on COVID. So these motherfuckers at the Department of Defense say that's not an excuse? Okay. What's the difference? They're civilian contractors. What's the fucking difference? Where's your people that are delegated to do these jobs to make sure that this shit gets ramped up? To make sure if it's a COVID issue, they get what they need to protect themselves. Y'all just dropped the ball on this? Under this administration's watch, this country is gone. It's fucking going to shit. Fuck me, man. This is like a twilight zone that we're living in right now. Just don't fucking understand. So let's continue on with things that piss me off, and I'm sure they're going to piss you off too. This is just sick. A Detroit area city on Tuesday voted to approve allowing residents to sacrifice animals at home for religious purposes. I'll repeat that. A Detroit area city on Tuesday voted to approve allowing residents to sacrifice animals at home for religious purposes. Now, I'm sure you're asking, what fucking religion sacrifices animals? The Hamrick City Council, whose members are all Muslim, approved the practice 3-2. The matter was put up for a vote in December, but the city council members kept the ban in place. The issue was revisited this month after legal advice and objections from resident Muslims. The Detroit Free Press reported. If somebody wants to do it, they have a right to do their practice, Council Member Muhammad Hassan said. Muslims often slaughter animals, especially goats or sheep, during the holiday for Eid al-Adha, or pay someone to do it for them. Meat is shared with family, friends, and the poor. It's not something new or novel, explained Dewan Wald, director of the Michigan branch of the Council of American Islamic Relations. This is when Muslims recognized Abraham sacrificed a sheep instead of having to sacrifice his son, Whaler said. an apparent reference to the Quran, an Old Testament passage. Amtrak residents will be required to notify the city, pay a fee, and make their property available for inspection. Amtrak has a population of 28,000. More than half of that 28,000 in that city are Muslims, according to the Free Press. Now, I want to also remind you that they also believe it's okay to suppress their wives and daughters. They believe it's okay to beat their wives. They believe it's okay for honor killings performed against their own daughters. So, are they going to allow that next? I don't know. I can't even believe this shit's happening in America. Let's talk about more sick shit happening in America. Vice President Kamala Harris blasted Republican legislators in the newly controlled GOP House of Representatives after they voted 220 to 210 to pass the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. Posting to the VP account Wednesday night, Harris called the bill extreme and said it will further jeopardize the right to reproduction health care in our country. Harris also claimed House Republicans are attempting to control women's bodies. So, what's in this new bill, you ask? I'll tell you. The bill will require immediately medical attention for babies who were born alive after an attempt was made to abort them and it failed. It also deems an infant person born alive after an attempted abortion a legal person for all purposes under the laws of the United States. And Kamala Harris and these fucking Democrats up in Washington, D.C. are upset about that. Doctors will be required to care for those infants as a reasonable and conscious healthcare practitioner would render to any child born alive. They would also be required to admit infants to a hospital for future care. Any doctor who violates that standard will face fines and imprisonment of up to 5 years or both. The bill does not penalize the mother. Almost all Democrats in the House voted against the act. 210 of those motherfuckers voted nays. You're okay with murder. It's murder. Our Vice President of the United States and the Democrats that are elected into Congress are okay with murder. Because if abortion fails and that baby is alive and kicking and breathing, which we know has happened, we've seen it. It's been released all over the fucking place when people went in these Planned Parenthood places with hidden undercover cameras and caught them doing it. And nurses have come out and talked about it, how disgusting and horrible it was when the baby was alive and crying, and they go ahead and fucking end its life anyhow after it survived the abortion. That's murder. Only one Democrat, Representative Henry Kohler of Texas, voted in favor of the bill. One. Who's not okay with murder or something with a beating heart. And one other Democrat, Representative Vicente Gonzalez of Texas, voted present. Many Democrats opposing the bill argued it is a way for the GOP to outlaw abortion. No, it's not. It's not. Though the bill places no new limits on abortion and focuses on the care that would be required of an infant who survives the attempted abortion, which we know happens. Then Representative Jerry Nadler, that fat fuck, Democrat, New York, said the bill would set up new requirements that directly interfere with the doctor's medical judgment and dictate a medical standard of care that may not be appropriate in all circumstances. Nadler and other members of his party also argued after taking the infant to a hospital may not be in the best interests of the family. I find it absurd. I find it unconscionable that this would be a matter of discussion on this body, that we would not render medical aid to the most innocent amongst us, an unborn child that is born alive at the most traumatic circumstances possible, said Representative Derek Van Orgen, Republican, Wisconsin. This is not about a woman's access to abortion, he said. This is about the sanctity of life and the basic dignity of a human child. The bill now heads to the Democrat-controlled Senate, where you guess what? They're going to shoot it down because they're okay with murder of innocent babies. You know, if we were talking about the majority of white babies that this is happening to, I guarantee you the Democrats would be all up in arms. But we're not talking about a majority of white babies. The majority of babies being aborted in this country are black. And oh, by the way, that's what Planned Parenthood was formed for. The person who formed it was a racist. It was formed and set in place to kill black babies. Google it. Look it up. Do your homework if you think I'm full of shit, like liberals and Democrats always say. Hell, even Planned Parenthood now is on record saying that, yes, that's what Margaret really meant, but that's not what we stand for today. I'm a former Democrat, born and raised a Democrat, right here in the deep south of Louisiana. It wasn't until way later in my adult years that I woke the fuck up and realized that this was a racist, bigoted bunch of people. I'm not saying all Democrats are racist bigots. I'm saying the party as a whole, especially those up in D.C., are racist bigots. But yet, the American people in general just turn their fucking head and look the other way. Hillary Clinton wrote in her own biography that she was inspired by a racist KKK member. Look that up. Read about that. Please, Democrats and liberals. Joe didn't give a fuck. No. Didn't give a shit. Because she's a Democrat. In the newly elected Republican-controlled House, articles of impeachment have been filed against Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, making good on months of Republican threats, with the party now in control of the House of Representatives, and something that I've been calling for since that son of a bitch was sworn in. The impeachment resolution, followed by Representative Pat Fallon, Republican Texas, last week became official on Monday after being delayed by the days-long House Speaker election. Fallon's office provided American Military News with the full text of the 3 articles of impeachment. They blame Mayorkas for the historic flows of migrants over the U.S.-Mexican border, accusing him of lying about the situation to Congress, and alleged that he knowingly slandered Border Patrol agents, all of which is 100% factual. The resolution has been referred to the House Judiciary Committee, according to Congress.gov. If the House votes for Mayorkas' impeachment, he will have to be convicted by the Democrat-led Senate to be removed from office, and that won't happen, so the son of a bitch gets to just continue on. In a written statement, Fallon said, "It's unfortunate that we have gotten to this point, but it is necessary. Secretary Mayorkas has proven time and time again that he is unfit to lead the Department of Homeland Security," Fallon stated. His willful actions erode our immigration system, undermine Border Patrol morale, and imperil American national security. He must be removed from office. Mayorkas was appointed by President Joe Biden in 2021 to oversee the border as head of the DHS. The Biden years have seen a record-breaking surge of migrants crossing the southern border that have become a primary line of attack for Republicans. In November, Representative Kevin McCarthy, who is now Speaker of the House, threatened Mayorkas with an impeachment inquiry once the GOP took control of it. In fact, told him, "You may as well resign now, because if we win, you're gone." But on Sunday, Mayorkas downplayed the potential for Republican attacks in the new Congress, saying on ABC's This Week, "I've got a lot of work to do. I'm proud to do it." Representative Andy Briggs, Republican Arizona, filed articles of impeachment against Mayorkas in 2021 that died in the House Judiciary Committee, of course. In May, Representative Vicky Hartzler, Republican Missouri, filed a resolution calling for Mayorkas' immediate resignation, and that also died in a subcommittee, of course. The border is just one part of Mayorkas' job as DHS Secretary. Chris Magnus, who directly oversees the border as Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, resigned in November under pressure from Mayorkas because he wasn't on board with what this son of a bitch was doing, destroying our country. The newly elected Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced he intends to follow up on his promise to block Democrats from seats on powerful committees, partially in retribution for Democrats knocking 2 Republicans off committees in 2021. And I told you, right here on this show, Democrats, it's going to come a time when Republicans are back in charge, and they're going to fucking return the favor. And they got good reason to, which we're going to go into. McCarthy told Punchbowl News he's planning to keep the California Democrat Representative Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell from being assigned to the Intelligence Committee. And he's going to stop Representative Alihan Omar from keeping her seat on the Foreign Affairs Committee, which she never should have been on. I've done so much work on that woman, so many videos that you can see right here, or you can see at DouglasDucote.com about her actions, and the fact that she's a sitting member of our Congress is a fucking disgrace. Goes on to say Swalwell can't get a security clearance in the private sector. "I'm not going to give him a government security clearance," McCarthy told Punchbowl News. And then Schiff has lied too many times to the American public, which he did. And when it comes to Eric Swalwell, look it up. He was in bed with a Chinese spy, and they did nothing to him. He went on to say they should not be on any intel or have any security clearances for what they've done to this country. McCarthy has tweeted that he would aim to remove Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee based on her repeated anti-Semitic and anti-American remarks, where she is on record referring to the real terrorist of Operation Gothic Serpent, the U.S. military forces that carried out the mission. Operation Gothic Serpent was a military operation conducted in Mogadishu, Somalia, which happens to be Ali Omar's birthplace, by an American force codenamed Task Force Ranger during the Somali Civil War in 1993. The Hollywood movie Black Hawk Down was about that mission. The primary objective of the operation was to capture Mohammed Farhad Ahid, a Somali clan leader who was wanted by the United Task Force in response to his attacks against United Nations troops. The operation took place from August to October of 1993 and was led by U.S. Joint Special Operations Command. During the operation, American forces lost 17 of our military troops. Over 100 troops were injured. One was captured alive and then killed, and 2 Black Hawk helicopters were shot down. I made all these cases before. It's not like it's anything new, McCarthy said. Remember, this is what Nancy Pelosi, this is the type of Congress she wanted to have. House Democrats booted 2 Republicans out of their committees in 2021, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and Representative Paul Gosar, were each voted off of 2 committees. At the time, then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi downplayed the potential for revenge, saying, "We would not walk away from our responsibilities for fear of something Republicans might do in the future," as reported by The Hill. McCarthy told Punchbowl News he intends to put Greene and Gosar back on committees. He's aiming for the same for freshman Representative George Santos, Republican New York, who is under multiple criminal investigations and fabricated much of his personal history, as detailed by the New York Magazine, and which I am 100% against. That guy needs to be removed from Congress. Period. End of discussion. He lied about everything except the fact that he's gay. He admits he's gay. That's fine. I got nothing against gay people. But other than that, he lied about his family's heritage. He lied about where they were from. He lied about his education. He lied about the places he's worked. Everything in his resume was a fucking lie. Everything that got him elected in the Congress was based on a false narrative. And McCarthy hasn't grabbed him by the fucking collar and walked him down the goddamn steps of Congress and said, "Get the fuck out of here." No. So we're not done there either. McCarthy can single-handedly block Schiff and Stilwell from serving on the intelligence committees because it's classified as a select committee. But the full House would have to vote on Omar being blocked from House Foreign Affairs because it's a standing committee. The Tampa Bay Times reported. A former Black Lives Matter-backed Democrat candidate has been sentenced to 22 months in prison. Karen Carter Peterson, a former Louisiana Democrat Party chair and state senator, received the sentence yesterday after pleading guilty to a wire fraud charge that included routing more than $140,000 in campaign and party funds to outside individuals and companies and using the money on personal expenses, including gambling. Peterson abruptly resigned from the state Senate last April, citing her mental health and gambling addiction. She was charged a month later in federal court with 1 count of wire fraud. Peterson's scheme ran for 7 years and involved diverting state campaign and party cash to several individuals and companies, which reportedly cashed the checks and provided Peterson with most or all of the funds, according to the Louisiana Advocate. Peterson then used the money on personal expenses, including gambling and related costs. She also filed false and misleading campaign finance reports, mischaracterized expenditures as being for legitimate purposes related to her campaign or holding a public office. The Justice Department here in Louisiana wrote in July press release last year, "Today marks an important step in the lifelong recovery as I continue to address my gambling addiction," Peterson wrote on Twitter at the time. "I sincerely apologize for the impact for my compulsive behavior resulting from this addiction." No, you're just sad that you got caught. Let's just be honest. Look, you're done. You're kicked out of the Senate. You're going to fucking prison. Just admit it. You got caught. And now you're sad and want forgiveness. "I have made full repayment of funds used as a result of my addiction, and I will continue to make amends," she added. Staying true to the steps of my ongoing recovery, I've been forthright, honest, and fully cooperate with the U.S. Attorney's Office in their investigation. Peterson, meanwhile, is the only federal candidate supported by Black Lives Matter since January of 2021. Black Lives Matter PAC, a BLM Global Network Foundation affiliated committee, in July 2021, pushed more than $100,000 into independent expenditures backing her failed attempt to enter Congress in Louisiana's 2nd District. Federal records reviewed by Fox News showed. Peterson must report to federal prison March 6th, according to NOLA.com. She, by the way, is just one of about 50 Black Lives Matter leaders currently under investigation, most for spending millions of dollars in donations buying themselves and family members fancy clothes, cars, and even million-dollar mansions in LA, instead of what it was supposed to go for, which is helping poor Black communities. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 damn times. If you think the leaders within the Democrat Party give 2 shits about Black lives, then you need to wake the fuck up. Because they don't. They don't. They just don't. Don't give a shit. Look at Black crime across America. Think about it. Where's all the crime taking place? Where's the majority of the Black on Black crime taking place? Gunning down each other in the streets, innocent people getting shot in the meantime in crossfire, burning, looting, rioting. Where's that taking place at? Every major metropolitan city in the United States of America that's got a Democrat-run city council and mayors. And members of Congress. And you're taking that from a former Democrat, myself. I left the party because of their racist bigotry acts. I left the party because they're racist bigots. And they don't give a shit about Black lives. And that, my friends, you can take to the bank. It's fact. It is what it is. The Black Democrats don't give a shit. And the white Democrats, they sure as hell don't give a shit. Again, I'm not painting this brush with all Democrats being that way, but the majority are racist bigots. And that, my friends, you can take to the bank. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. I'm sorry that I was so passionate tonight, but I'm getting sick of this shit. I'm getting sick of watching our country being destroyed by domestic enemies. And I know you are too. We have to stand up against these people we put in places of power, whether it's in Congress or voting for a local sheriff or mayors or hell, the damn school board and school board councils. We have to stand up to them. We have to hold them accountable. That's the only option. There is no other. Unless you want to watch your country continue down this path of no return. Thank God, literally, thank God, we got the House back. And the time will come, trust me, Democrats and liberals, that we will have the Senate back. And then we'll have 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue back. And then we can concentrate on trying to rebuild what they destroyed. If you haven't done so, please go to DouglasDucote.com. Check out the website. Also, my other YouTube channel called Charlie Hotel 47. It's a very good site that I hope that you will share, not only look at yourself and subscribe, but also share with the youth of America. It's all about American things that I've been a part of, whether it's combat operations, museums I've been to, and I will continue to update that with past experiences as well as upcoming experiences and things that I plan to do in the future. This year, as a matter of fact, I'll be doing a lot of overseas traveling, and I will bring you things that a lot of people can't go and can't see for one reason or another, be it your health, be it financial, whatever. I want everybody that would like to see these things that don't have the ability to see them through my eyes. That's my gift to you, the American people and the youth of this country. Charlie Hotel 47. Please go check that out and subscribe. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America, the country that was, well, still is the best country on planet Earth. But if Democrats have their way, it will not be. Also, would like to give a shout out to one of my moderators, Scott. It's his birthday, and I think he just turned 26 years old. I'm not exactly positive. It might be 27. Sherry Ann Ritter Scott is his wife, who recently also had a birthday. But anyhow, we hope you have many, many more, and keep doing all the good things you do for America. And we love you, brother. Happy birthday. Take care, everyone. And I'll see you next week, Tuesday, same time, same station. Good night.